It was 2020 and or I should say the height of the pandemic. And there were a number of families that were really faced with this question of, seeing what was happening in the world, thinking about many of us that were either pregnant or had just had a baby. What were we going to do with our kids? A lot of childcares, especially around Seattle, a lot of childcares had closed. There really weren't a lot of options to begin with that were culturally matched, if they existed at all. If they were available, they were full because they were high quality centers, or they were so exorbitantly expensive that it either was outside of a lot of people's means or just really didn't make sense with the uncertainty of what our world was looking like. We were like, well, we have a lot of brilliant folks, in that we all know. We have people who are educators. We have people who are administrators. We have people who are project managers and grant writers and chefs. And like, let's do our own thing. Let's just try to see what we can create. There was a few conversations about where and how, and was there going to be a cost to it? We had a lot of conversations about what happens when money is introduced in a lot of these circumstances where you're trying to create community-led efforts and how it can create these power dynamics and also this transactional relationship. And we really didn't want that. We wanted to feel like we were creating something that at its essence felt like family.
Should we get some water to water the plants?
We all were Indigenous. We had a fair number of our families were mixed Black and Indigenous as well. So we wanted to make sure that that was reflected too. Like what is it like to create a space that is Indigenous-centered in its teaching philosophies, but also honors the fact that many of us come from many different cultural backgrounds and wanting to make sure that that's honored as well.
Sometimes I feel like when you are of multiple identities, like one or another, or maybe both identities kind of get lost, but all that is embraced here with these kiddos. And so that's something I feel like that really sets us apart, is that kind of that cultural and that language aspect of it. But it's who these kids are, at their core, and they can, grow in that. And there doesn't have to be like shame around, oh, I'm speaking this language, so these kids aren't speaking this, the same language at this school or whatever. Like it's all embraced. And even a teacher that is not native to that language, it's the aspect of everybody just, trying and giving an effort. And that warms my heart when I hear someone, speaking, Pekingese to my kid. I'm like, oh, you you learned that, you really, took that on. And I think that's important, especially, my child is not going to an immersion Blackfoot school. I am not a native Blackfoot speaker. Like I am learning it myself, but to, see other people, making an effort, especially with my child, I honestly believe it makes a difference. Definitely, those are things that kind of really, set us apart from other, child cares.
So I really love before like I started, or the first couple of days, that it was like the kids, they check on each other. They push or they, fight, they're 3 years old. So they're going to do that. And, we prompt them like, hey, like check in on your cousin, like maybe that hurt, like they're crying, maybe they're not okay, like let's check in on them. And they do that. So seeing us do that with them, they're able to do it to each other. And I'm like, that's so adorable. Like those social emotional skills are so important at that age. So that they're doing that at such a young age, I'm like, oh my God, that's like setting them up later to do that, create like that safety within each other, and really just all the community. Like they grow up with their friends. I hope that sticks with them.
I love the community. I just love how everyone is like so supportive of one another. I've never experienced that in a job setting. And just my love language is food and serving. So I feel like it was a perfect match for me. Like it was a no-brainer. As soon as they offered it, I was like, yep, I'm all in. I just feel like it's the connection and the bond we have with each child, and just we're like a safe space. And there's somebody that like, sometimes we go on walks and they're like, I want to hold this auntie's hand. I want to hold this auntie's hand. And, when we're out of work too, when we have our like events, just like having that sense of like safety, like, oh yeah, like they're drawn to us and they come to us, and that's a beautiful feeling. And yeah, just I feel like we're all a big, huge family.
The importance for being able to support programs like this are to ensure that we are not fully dependent on grant funds, government funds, private funding, that there is a mix so that we can have a little bit of a breather, knowing that we can continue to pay our staff well. And the way that our model works is that like our administrative staff, leadership staff, at least at the present time, we volunteer our time. Sometimes there might be, if there's capacity, maybe a small stipend for, specific like buckets of work that need to happen. But we do want to make sure that the majority of our funding goes to paying our teaching aunties. So, and we want to make sure that we pay them well, so that we're paying them comparable to what like in the early education system, what a teacher with a graduate degree would be getting, because these are, we have very skilled people coming in from many different backgrounds. And the days that our teaching aunties are working in the classroom, those would be their like paid days. And then there are days where our teaching aunties will also take off and have their child in the program. And so this offers the opportunity to both have time in the class to be able to be with your child, but also time out where that you're getting childcare. And so that also helps a little bit with our barter-based model. So with that barter-based, it creates a situation where like we are, we're definitely running pretty thin, on our funding model, but we also really want to preserve that sense that we are bringing in funding from these different sources to cover it, so that we don't actually have to charge people for tuition. That time is more valuable. People giving their time, people sharing in helping us to fix and maintain things. Those are expensive, and being able to know that like we've built in this internal bartering system is beautiful. We also are in the process of doing fundraising so that we can build a permanent home for the lodge. We were able to acquire some land. And so that is our future growth, is to extend and be able to create space that is centering our children, that's for our children, but also for community. I want to create a space that's centering children so that other children in our community can engage with us in this beautiful curated space on the land. Yeah, just creating access. And so all that requires money, but the end project is going to be this held space for our families where there is like physical space for gathering and growing traditional medicines, a place for ceremony to be held, a place to just be in fellowship with each other. And all of those are things that I think that anyone who has children, works with children, has children anywhere in their orbit, knows of children would want, like we all want our children to do well. And we just hope that folks will understand why it's important to invest. We're investing in these future leaders. We're investing in these children that are getting the opportunity to be in a space where they are deeply loved. They are seen in all of these different ways, from their individual abilities to culturally, how their family values are, and children that are not indoctrinated in this westernized educational model. And so many of us are like, wow, this is a chance to give our kids the opportunity to thrive in the ways that many folks in our communities have never had the opportunity to.